Los Angeles has always been home to wild cars, but some of the baddest muscle machines here, you probably never even heard of them. One of these beasts could dust a Camaro and was once parked outside your local diner. Let's dive in. Number 10, 1977 Pontiac CanAm. You wouldn't expect muscle from something that looks like it belongs in a retiree's driveway, but this next car hit a warhammer under a leisure suit. The badges were subtle. The styling, mostly borrowed. But beneath the surface, it was a factory-built assassin, meant to shake up the streets just before the muscle car era flatlined. Born in 1977, it was a one-year-only anomaly, a final gasp from a company desperate to keep the flame alive. And while most automakers were downsizing, this thing showed up like it had missed the memo entirely. Only around 1,100 units ever left the line, making it rarer than some supercars. Built on a familiar mid-size platform, it borrowed suspension bits from the Trans Am, threw in a rally gauge cluster, and got the big boy engine treatment. A 6.6-liter V8 punching out around 200 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. On paper, that doesn't sound earth-shattering, but in a decade where cars were suffocating under emissions rules, this one could still break the 15-second quarter-mile mark. That's faster than some 5.0 Mustangs that came a decade later. It was loud, it was angry, and in the right hands, it was a problem. Of course, there were compromises. The car was rushed into production. Molds for the rear spoiler broke and were never replaced. Once dealers realized it was a limited-run curiosity, they sold out fast. But Pontiac didn't bother making more. It was discontinued without warning, no fanfare, no sequel, just gone. Which only added to its myth. You might catch one at an LA cruise night, parked between two overbuilt Chevels, quietly stealing glances. Most people won't know what they're looking at. That's the point. Because the next one, it's even older, even quieter, and if you knew what it could do, you'd never call it gentle again. Number 9, 1964 Mercury Comet Cyclone. At first glance, it looked like a compact commuter your uncle might have used for a hardware store run. But in 1964, the Mercury Comet Cyclone was anything but soft. This thing wasn't built to turn heads, it was built to snap necks. Mercury took the humble Comet and quietly turned it into a street-savvy missile, stuffing a 289 cubic inch V8 under the hood. Officially rated at 210 horsepower, but if you know anything about Detroit in the 60s, you know those numbers were sandbagged. With a 4-speed manual, a tight wheelbase, and just over 3,000 pounds curb weight, this thing could scoot. No, it wasn't a GTO or a Chevel, it didn't try to be. That's what made it dangerous. It flew under the radar, the kind of car you underestimated at the stoplight, until it left your 396 in the dust. This wasn't just a dressed-up Falcon with a badge swap either. The Cyclone got its own suspension tweaks, bucket seats, and a unique sense of purpose. It was Mercury's first real shot at proving they could run with the muscle crowd, and they nailed it. Some Cyclones made their way into NHRA Superstock or NASCAR's short tracks, where they quietly put in work while the Mopars and bow ties soaked up the press. But here in LA, spotting one today is like catching Bigfoot on Ventura Boulevard. People mistake them for grandma's runaround car, until that V8 burbles to life and the whole block takes notice. This is true sleeper DNA, the kind of car that doesn't need stripes or scoops to make a statement, just a downshift and a stretch of open pavement. And the next car? It doesn't just move, it charges, with red, white, and blue fury and enough attitude to make a Mustang nervous. Number 8, 1970 Rebel Machine. Red, white, and brutally fast. The 1970 AMC Rebel Machine wasn't just a muscle car. It was a declaration of war from the ultimate underdog. In a world ruled by Mustangs, Chevels, and Roadrunners, AMC didn't just show up late to the party. They kicked in the door wearing stars and stripes and dared anyone to say something. The machine was loud in every way. That bold red, white, and blue paint job, factory option. That big hood scoop with the built-in tachometer, standard equipment. And under that hood, a 390 cubic inch V8, factory rated at 340 horsepower and 430 pound-foot of torque. Numbers that meant business. This wasn't a car that begged for attention, it demanded it. 0 to 60 came in just over 6 seconds. But raw speed was only half the story. The machine came with beefed-up suspension, disc brakes, a limited slip differential, and heavy-duty everything. It was ready to brawl straight off the lot. No mods required. What made it legendary wasn't just the performance, it was the attitude. AMC didn't have Ford's cash or Chevy's dealer network, but what they did have was a group of rebellious engineers tired of playing it safe. The machine was their answer. A bold, brash, blue-collar street fighter built to throw punches way above its class. In Los Angeles today, seeing one of these is like spotting a bald eagle doing a burnout on Sunset Boulevard. Rare, loud, and unapologetically American. Less than 2,000 were ever produced, and only a handful still prowl the streets. The rest raced into the history books or quietly laid to rest in barns and junkyards. The Rebel Machine wasn't just AMC's idea of muscle, it was a middle finger to the big three, and the next car, even more unhinged because it doesn't even come from Detroit. Number 7. 1973 Ford Falcon XBGT, Aussie import. It didn't roll out of Detroit. It came from down under. The 1973 Ford Falcon XBGT wasn't just Australia's answer to America's muscle obsession. It was a whole different breed of beast. Born from the grit and dust of the Outback, the XBGT didn't follow trends, it broke rules. If the silhouette looks familiar, it should. This was Mad Max's Interceptor, the last of the V8s, immortalized in cinema, but very real in metal and fuel. Before it was chasing warlords through the wasteland, it was dominating rural highways across New South Wales, turning heads and terrorizing the tarmac. Under the hood, a 351 Cleveland V8, good for 300 horses, and a torque curve that felt like it could move the earth. But the real magic? The sound. The snarl of that exhaust, the growl and throttle. It didn't just turn heads, it made people nervous. This wasn't a cruiser, it was a brawler. Engineered for sharp bends, steep grades, and rough roads. While American muscle was starting to go soft, bloated, detuned, weighed down by emissions gear, the Falcon XB GT stayed lean, and dangerous. Visually, it looked like trouble. Flared fenders, aggressive rake, deep dish wheels, and an attitude that screamed outlaw. The XB GT didn't pretend. It announced its presence like a bar fight in progress. In Los Angeles, these cars are mythical. Seeing one isn't just rare, it's iconic. Most Americans don't even know what they're looking at when one rolls in. But the real ones, they know. They feel it in their chest before they even hear it. And if you think this import is wild, just wait. The next car, it's even less legal, more brutal, and somehow never meant to exist. Hit subscribe, the real outlaws are coming. Number 6, 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. You ever hear a land yacht scream? That's what happens when you take Buick, king of comfort, and hand it a 455 cubic inch sledgehammer. The 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1 wasn't just fast for a luxury car, it was one of the fastest muscle cars of the entire era. Period. See, in 1970, Buick had something to prove. They were known for smooth rides and leather seats, not quarter-mile wars. So they did what any self-respecting underdog would do. They took their biggest engine and cranked it until it rattled windows. The GSX Stage 1 made a factory-rated 360 horsepower, but real output was closer to 400 plus, with a mind-bending 510 pound-feet of torque. That's more torque than a Hemi, more than a Chevel SS 454. And it wasn't just powerful, it was quick. Bone stock, this massive coupe could rip through the quarter mile in the low 13s, embarrassing Corvettes and Mopars alike. It came with heavy-duty suspension, 3.64 gears, functional hood scoops, and graphics loud enough to make insurance agents nervous. But here's the kicker. Buick only built 678 GSX Stage 1s that year. Most people didn't even know they existed. And the few that do, they still argue, was this the ultimate sleeper muscle car of the 70s? That's the question. Would you take a Buick GSX Stage 1 over a Chevel SS or a Hemi Cuda? It's smoother, it's rarer, and it might just be faster. Drop a comment and let me know. Would you pull up to a street light in this thing? Or keep it wrapped in a cover, waiting for the right moment to strike? Because the next car on this list, it doesn't wait, it flies. Number 5, 1970 Plymouth Superbird 426 Hemi. If you saw it in your rearview mirror, you'd think a spaceship was trying to pass you. The The 1970 Plymouth Superbird 426 Hemi wasn't designed to look cool, though it absolutely does. It was engineered for one reason: to dominate NASCAR. This car was a weapon, plain and simple. That outrageous nose cone and towering rear wing weren't for show. They were born in the wind tunnel. Aerodynamics became the name of the game in late 60s racing, and Plymouth was done playing catch-up. They needed to bring Richard Petty back from Ford, and they needed to win. The result? A car so outrageous it got banned from the track after just one season. Under the hood, the legendary 426 Hemi V8, putting down a conservative 425 horsepower, though real-world numbers were way higher. This beast could top 200 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest muscle cars ever. And with heavy-duty suspension, oversized brakes, and a reinforced chassis, it wasn't just a straight-line missile. It could actually handle that speed. But here's the thing. On the streets of LA, the Superbird was almost too wild. Dealerships couldn't move them. People thought the nose looked ridiculous. Some were converted back into standard Roadrunners just to get them sold. Only 135 Hemi Superbirds were ever built. Today, spotting one in person is like catching a unicorn doing burnouts. They're loud, rare, and impossible to ignore. This car isn't just muscle. It's motorsport history on four wheels. Built for speed, shaped by science, feared by everyone. And the next car on this list? It may not have the wings, but it's just as brutal where it counts: under the hood.
Number 4, 1970 Chevrolet Chevel SS LS6 454. If there was ever a muscle car that wore its horsepower like a badge of honor,
It was the 1970 Chevrolet Chevel SS LS6 454. This wasn't just Chevrolet flexing. It was Chevy throwing down the gauntlet in the horsepower wars. Under that cowl induction hood sat the LS6 454 cubic inch V8, factory rated at 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. But let's be real, those were conservative numbers. Tuned right, these monsters were making well over 500 horses, turning rear tires into smoke and dreams into speed traps. The Chevel SS LS6 wasn't built for subtlety. It was loud, heavy, aggressive, and terrifyingly fast. It could launch from 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds and run the quarter in the low 13s, straight off the showroom floor. That made it the most powerful production muscle car of its day, and still one of the most respected names at any drag strip. It came with heavy-duty everything: Muncie 4-speed, 12-bolt rear F41 suspension, beefy sway bars, and optional stripes that screamed, "I will embarrass you." Whether in cranberry red or shadow gray, when this thing rolled up, people moved, or challenged it and usually regretted it. Thing is, this wasn't just a straight-line brute. It had balance, it had presence. And in a world full of fast cars, the LS6 Chevel felt like it could eat them all. So if you've never seen one in the wild, now you know why it's so feared and so loved. It wasn't just a muscle car, it was the muscle car. Like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. The next car on this list makes even the Chevel look tame.
Number 3, 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible.
The 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible isn't just rare, it's legendary. This car is so elusive, most muscle fans will go their whole lives without seeing one in person. And if you do, you're probably standing at a 7-figure auction. Why? Because in 1971, the muscle car era was already fading. Insurance rates were rising, emissions were tightening, and big engines were becoming targets. But Plymouth wasn't ready to tap out. Not yet. So they built 11 Hemi-powered Cuda convertibles that year. Yes, 11 total. And each one came packing the beast. A 426 Hemi V8, 2 4-barrel carbs, and 425 horsepower of pure untamed fury. Mated to either a 4-speed or 3-speed torque flight, this drop top wasn't built for cruising the boulevard. It was meant to own it. What made the 71 so special? That aggressive, one-year-only grille, the 4 headlamps, the optional shaker hood rising through the center like it was hungry for air, and challengers. And with the top down, nothing stood between you and that unmistakable Hemi roar. Today, the Hemi Cuda Convertible is one of the most valuable muscle cars ever made. We're talking multi-million-dollar territory. Not because of hype, because of history, power, and scarcity. But here's the real question. If you owned one, would you drive it or keep it locked in a vault? Is a car like this meant to be heard screaming down Sunset or preserved like fine art? Drop a comment and let me know, because the next car on this list, it's rarer, louder, and it was built to break the rules, even the law. Number 2, 1966 Shelby Cobra 427 Super Snake. The 1966 Shelby Cobra 427 Super Snake isn't just a muscle car, it's a hand-built missile with license plates. Born from Carroll Shelby's obsession with going faster, this was his personal version of too much is never enough. Start with the already insane 427 Cobra, a lightweight British roadster stuffed with a big block American V8. Now take that concept and strap on 2 Paxton superchargers. That's the Super Snake. 800 horsepower in a car that weighed less than 2,500 pounds. It wasn't just overpowered, it was borderline undrivable for anyone not named Shelby. Only 2 were built. One was destroyed in an accident. The other, that was Carroll's own car. Street legal, red, white, and ready to kill anything foolish enough to line up next to it. It had a 3-speed automatic because, in Shelby's words, you couldn't shift a 4-speed fast enough to keep up with the engine. Shelby famously lent it to his friend, comedian Bill Cosby, who returned it almost immediately. Why? Because it terrified him. Cosby's comedy album, 200 miles per hour, was entirely about that drive. And yes, it really was that fast. The Super Snake wasn't built for racing. It wasn't built for show. It was built for domination. To prove that one man, with the right tools and the wrong intentions, could build something that defied logic, safety, and common sense. Today, it's one of the rarest and most valuable American cars ever made, not because of what it did on the track, but because of what it represents. The ultimate Shelby, the ultimate Cobra, the ultimate expression of speed without rules. And there's only one muscle car left on this list, one that prowled the streets of Detroit by night and disappeared just as fast as it came. Number 1, 1970 Dodge Challenger Black Ghost, Hemi RT SE. The 1970 Dodge Challenger Black Ghost Hemi RT SE isn't just a car, it's a street legend. Not the kind built in magazines or on showroom floors, but the kind whispered about in Detroit parking lots and midnight drag spots. This jet black Challenger wasn't flashy, it didn't roll deep with a crew. It would show up alone, smoke everything in sight, then vanish into the night. No names, no trophies, just burned rubber and rumors. For years, nobody knew who drove it or even if it was real. Turns out, it was very real. The man behind the wheel? Godfrey Qualls, a Detroit motorcycle cop by day, street racer by night. His car? A 1970 Dodge Challenger RTSE, factory equipped with the 426 Hemi V8, 4-speed manual super track pack, and that unmistakable gator grain vinyl top, a luxury touch on a purebred street killer. Only 23 Hemi RTSEs were built with this combo. And this one? It wasn't just rare, it was feared. While most muscle cars were loud and proud, the Black Ghost was the opposite. Stealthy, brutal, and fast enough to disappear before anyone could catch their breath. After Godfrey's passing, his son found the car tucked away in a garage, untouched for decades, still wearing its scars from street battles long past. Word spread, collectors gasped, historians confirmed, and in 2023, it hit the auction block, selling for over $1 million. But this car was never about the money. It was about mystery, about power, about the streets. Because in the end, the Black Ghost wasn't just a muscle car. It was a story, a myth, a machine that earned its legend 1/4 mile at a time, then disappeared into the dark. So, which one of these beasts would you roll up in for a midnight street run? No badges, no flex, just raw torque and shock value. Drop your pick in the comments. I want to see which car caught you sleeping. And don't get too comfortable, because the next video, we're digging into the deepest layer of underground speed. Muscle cars so quick, they nearly got outlawed. Ones you've never seen in a Fast and Furious movie or parked at your local Cars and Coffee. Hit that subscribe and stay tuned.